truth is, Adam almost made me cry, but it was crying in a good way. I became teary-eyed when he was coaching me, and he spoke belief into my goals. And it's one of those things that there are certain people in the world that just have this ability to be the greatest cheerleaders, but he is not just a cheerleader. He gives you practical advice. He will tell you how it is. He will use his experiences and his knowledge to give you the best advice. If you're looking for someone like that, if you're looking for just like a genuine person who can coach you, then you need Adam. He has also helped me to reach 10,000 downloads for my podcast within a little over 6 months. I implemented a lot of the things that he had shared from listening to his podcast and from his coaching. And now I have this podcast that is growing and successful. And I just want you to know that you will not regret paying Adam to be your podcast coach.
What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you grow your audience and turn your podcast content into new clients. We've got an interview episode today. You guys know I rarely do interviews. So when I do, it's somebody that I really want you to hear from. We've got my new Pod Pal Tracy Beavers from the Create Online Business Success podcast. We're talking a little bit about email, list growth, email marketing, lead magnets, and doing it all without ads, because I know you guys like to do all this stuff on a low budget. So Tracy, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We've been chatting it up. A couple folks from the Midwest. I promise we keep this under 4 hours, and we also both mentioned that both of our neighbors are doing like landscaping, woodworking, chainsaws are happening. So
yeah,
we'll hit the studio sound button on Descript when I decide to edit this. But I'm always curious when I bring somebody. You got a lot of experience in the industry.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you got started in online business, because there's always a story there. So let's start with that.
Yeah, I'm an accidental entrepreneur because growing up, my dad worked for himself, and he made it look awful. Like it. Of course, now that I think about it, he was a workaholic. He loved his work. That's what was happening. But what I was seeing was him working 24/7 and stressed out all the time. And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. So, it was I'm old enough, I'm way older than you, that it was go to high school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get the job, any job, be happy with the job, and stay there 40 years. And then you're supposed to get a pension, a gold watch, and a retirement party. Well, that didn't happen. So somewhere around 2005 is when companies started laying people off. Severance packages were a thing. And I was like, what is happening? And so I started to feel the instability of corporate that I never thought I would feel. And fast forward through some toxic bosses, some downsizing, some right sizing, some job descriptions that didn't fit. The last straw for me was, so I had an over 20-year award-winning sales career. I was really good at what I did. I could come into your business and I could grow it. I grew one of the businesses I worked for, I grew them 86% the first year I was there in market share. So I knew what I was doing. Well, this CEO decided that he was going to monkey around with the commission structure every time those of us in the sales department started to make really good money.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I make you money. The more money I make, the more money you make, right? Well, something was wrong. I don't know what it was. Never found out. Didn't care, because he presented me with a contract that was so ambiguous. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. And so I went through one of those searching things inside. I'm like, well, okay, if you're not going to be in corporate and be, aspire to be vice president of all things important, then what are you going to do? Because the alternative is to go to work for yourself. And that's what your dad did. That was terrible.
Yeah.
But my friends helped me see. I was in a mastermind, a women's mastermind, and they were like, Tracy, people are always coming to you asking you for help with sales. And I'm like, well, sales is not that hard. And they're like, yeah, it is. But Adam, it was one of those moments where, when you're really good at something, you just think everybody else is good at it too, or you think it's easy. And so they were like, you really need to consider being a coach. Well, I'm in Arkansas. And we're slow on the trend, every trend, name a trend, we're slow on it. We're the last ones to do it or see it or know about it. And so I looked at them and I'm like, coaching, that's a thing. And they're like, it's a thing. Look it up. unbeknownst to me, it was a thing. So I started researching and I got into the online space and started following some people that if I threw out some names, you'd know exactly who they were. And my mind was expanded. And I was like, wow, I could have clients all over the world. And little Tracy Beavers in Little Rock, Arkansas could have clients all over the world. Who would have thought that? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. Well, I had to build alongside the corporate job. So that's a little twist to my story, little twist there,
Yeah.
because my husband, if I'd said to him, "Hey, I'm going to quit this six-figure job and I'm going to make no money for a while," yay, he'd be like, "No, you're not doing that." So the kids were super busy. High school back then, they were in high school and middle school. Played every sport that had a ball. It felt like, and so I was like, "How am I going to do this?" But I did. I managed it. I built alongside the corporate job. And it took me about a year and a half to be able to fully exit. The last job actually exited me, fun fact, because they closed the office here in Little Rock. And I was like, oh, here we go. And I told my husband, I said, I've got 2 months left with this company. I don't think I want to go find another job. I think I just want to do this. And he was so sweet. He didn't mean it this way, Adam, but he goes, well, let's just see where you are in 6 months. But he didn't mean it. But the way I took it was, oh, you know, hold, like I said earlier, hold my purse and watch me because game on, brother. But here I am all these years later. I think I started building in 2000. No, that's not right. 2019. What? Yes, 2000-ish, 2018, 19-ish. And here I am all these years later and built a multi six-figure business, clients all over the world, talking on Adam Shibley's podcast. Shibley.
Nailed it.
Thanks. My brain went, that's not how you say it. Um, when you say something and then you're like, not sure I did that.
No one
right.
ever says my last name correctly. That's why I don't even, I always refer to myself as your buddy Adam on the show because it's as if my first name was your buddy and my last name was Adam because I don't even go to the last name. But no, I think you represent, you have a story that represents a large percentage of people that get into online business space and even the content creation space. Like a lot of podcasters, newsletter writers, content creators, they start off with a 9 to 5 and they transition and they have that dream of like the day that I get to exit, the day that I replace my income. And I'm kind of an outlier. Like I was born like an unfiltered, unemployable entrepreneur. Like I've worked for someone else for 1 month of my life. When I was 16 years old, I bagged groceries at Marsh Grocery for 1 month. And I was like, this sucks. And I didn't really like school. I didn't ever like being bossed around and not being paid for it. So
Right.
unemployable. So I'm the unicorn. I'm the outlier for sure. So I think more of my audience
Oh,
is going to relate to a story like yours where we had to figure out like, okay, we're going to build this thing up on the side and figure that
yeah.
out in those in between hours and things like that. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, you betcha.
So we're here to talk about getting that email list. I get real preachy
Mm.
on my
Yeah.
show because I think podcasters need to be building their email list. I feel like there are two areas that podcasters are super lazy. Number one, email list building, and number
Yeah.
two, collecting and using testimonials. And these are just like
Ah,
critical things. And
yes.
we as a podcasting population are not great at it. So I need you to back me up and get extra preachy
Yeah.
as well about the importance of building an email list. But um, let's like incentivize my audience a little bit. We got to bring them along before we like really drive the stake and go, you must do this. So what are you most excited about from the world of building your email list right
Yeah.
now? There's a million different ways to do it, but what are you personally most just fired up about like this method really, or this type of lead magnet or this type of an event is really bringing in high quality people on my email list? What are you fired up about?
So email list growth, you and I are twins in this regard. It's so important even for podcasters. In fact, I was asked to deliver a speech is not the right word. I don't even know. A talk, let's call it a talk, at the Arkansas Podcast Festival about a year or so ago about email lists. And some of the podcasters were like, Tracy, I don't have an online business like you do. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a podcaster with products and stuff to sell or you're not, everybody needs an email list. And what I'm most excited about this year in 2026 is because of the birth of AI, humanity is being plugged back into all of these businesses. Because, like, from what I watched from 2020 to 2023, I watched people put together courses, put together lead magnets. They didn't even have to be that great. Throw them out there. People were snatching them up, buying them right and left. All this money was being made, but there wasn't any quality in what was being given. And because of that, around late 2023, early 2024 is when I started seeing what we're now calling the trust recession, where it's people like you and I, our job is harder because of all the wild, wild west stuff that was happening and the people that were selling the things that weren't delivering on the promises. And so because of that, we have had to plug back in as humans and build connections and build relationships. And because of AI, so you layer those two things that have happened in the past few years, and we're at a point which I'm excited about because you're a connector and I'm a connector, and people like us that actually care about our people, we are the ones that are going to succeed. We are the ones that are going to be around for the long haul. And so what I'm excited about for list growth is when you are making those connections, those genuine connections, especially through podcasting. Podcasting is such a strong medium. My students and clients hear me say, video is king, audio is queen. And video is king simply because right now, if you're watching me on video, you can see me waving my hands around. You can see my face. You can get a really fast idea of whether or not I'm for you. Audio is queen because you can still hear my voice and you can still understand. Your audience can understand the passion you have for them and how much you care. And so for podcasting, you're already connecting and building that relationships. So you've got the human element. You could use AI to do your show notes and stuff like that. So there's not an AI factor in it, which is cool. And you're deepening that connection and you're pulling people to your email list where then you can continue the conversation. And that's what I'm excited about, is using things like podcasting as a lead magnet. A lot of people forget that it's not a traditional lead magnet. Back in the day, lead magnets were PDFs, worksheets, cheat sheets, that kind of stuff. But let's make our lead magnets our podcast. Put together a podcast bundle for somebody as a lead magnet. That's super cool. Put together a bundle of live trainings that you did. That's super cool. And that deepens that know, like, and trust factor faster, where people are going to want to respond to you, either in the DMs or in the inbox. And so that's what I'm excited about. I think that humanity being plugged back in, relationships really mattering now more than ever. And yeah, let's use the AI, but let's sandwich it between humanity. Let's make it the middle of the sandwich instead of the whole sandwich.
Yeah. I'm on the same page with you, Tracy. I really feel like the humans that want to do unscalable human things are really standing out right now. And that's something I'm willing to do.
Me too.
I had somebody yesterday, I did a little discovery call chat, and he goes, you know what? It's just really nice to talk to somebody that's willing to talk to me first before we work together, but also to see that you are the real deal and like you're real and you're ready to interact. And I was like, hell yes, like that's what I'm here for. Like that's my favorite part. So, okay.
I agree. Yeah.
Do we feel?
I always like to talk to my people too, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's important. And I love that he recognized that in you, because that speaks to the fact how much you care, Adam. You want to make sure he's not just a number. He's not just a wallet. You want to make sure that you're the right fit for him and he's also the right fit for you. I love that. That's amazing.
Well, thank you, Tracy. So in line with what we're talking about here, do you feel like that traditional lead magnet is less effective? Like download my PDF, download my quiz, my checklist, and just to like put all the cards on the table. I quit using all of those last year. My philosophy was, and again, I want you don't have to agree with me at all, but my philosophy was like, that's a little bit oversaturating, the whole trust recession thing. I'm like, I want to give them something that's real value. So I kind of just threw all my lead magnets in the garbage bin, and I just used my newsletter. And I'm like, I will write this in real time every single Thursday morning, like I've done for 8 years in a row. And you will get a real piece of me. And that's the value. And I've added 2,000 people to my list since I've done that. So, I mean, that's worked for me. But are you seeing traditional lead magnets still work? And we can kind of go from there, I guess.
I think it depends on the industry, honestly. I think it depends on the audience. Because some of my students that are in different industries like health and wellness or oh gosh, what's another one that's where they can do a quiz? They serve moms or they serve women, women entrepreneurs or women leadership. There are certain audiences that still love a quiz. I did a quiz, paid a lot of money to have somebody design it with me because tech is not my love language, and it didn't go very well. And I think it's primarily because our audience, you and I have the same audience. We want to work with online entrepreneurs. You specifically work with podcasters, but I work with that same audience. I think they're exhausted from quizzes. I did a poll and asked probably, I think it was this time last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, because I was just going to shut it down. And I asked, in several different Facebook groups that I'm in, asked my email list, and they were all like, unless the quiz like gives you this angel choir transformation moment, it's really not going to work. And the same thing goes for our audience. I think the PDFs, the worksheets, the cheat sheets, the one pager thingies, those are not what people want. I love what you said. You're going to get a piece of me in your inbox because that goes back to the humanity piece that's been missing. It goes back to building that connection and relationship and really genuinely wanting to say to people, I want to know you too. Yeah, follow me, Tracy Beavers, and my podcast and all that. But man, DM me, email me. You know what I mean? Let's have a conversation because that's where I get excited. And people are so funny. I'll reply back to them in my inbox, and they're like, is this really you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, it's really me, or in the DMs. Sometimes I'll just send them an audio so they know it's me. And then like one gal followed my podcast, loved it. I found she left comments on Buzzsprout, and the detective in me tracked her down on Facebook, connected with her. I sent her a friend request, which she was like, what is happening? And then I sent her a DM and I said, hey, Elizabeth, I'm so excited. I don't mean to look like a stalker here, but I loved your comments on Buzzsprout, and I couldn't reply back to I can't remember the name of the place where they leave the comment. But anyway, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Fan mail, I think is what they call it. Well, I can't reply back to you there. So I thought I'd just send you it. She goes, I cannot believe you're talking to me right now. But it's that kind of stuff. So the lead magnets that I think work are the things that really build that connection. Your newsletter. So years ago, people would say, oh, a newsletter is not a lead magnet because nobody wants to sign up for a newsletter. I think they were thinking of it kind of like the Sunday church bulletin newsletter, with the squares, the paper that had the, but newsletters have made a comeback. I have seen this happen, and you're not the first person to say my newsletter has really grown my list. And people are wanting to consume things that actually give them a quick win and give them value. And if you can do that in a newsletter, then knock yourself out. But other lead magnets for me that have worked really well are taking something that I train on, like maybe one of my YouTube videos or a podcast episode, and then creating if there is a PDF with it, there's a purpose for it to help them dive deeper into what I taught them. But it's not just a standalone PDF. But I think it's got to have the value, the connection with you, and just help them, just show that you want to help them get a quick win and build their business.
Again, we are in alignment. I love it when I have a guest on and we just agree about everything like that. It just makes me feel so good about all these experiments I've been going, like, I don't know if anybody else is doing this or not. Yeah. So I want to emphasize that unscalable humanness that you displayed with being like, you answer your DMs, you are hunting people down to have conversations. I think in our industry, in online business and in content creation, people get started and they have these heroes that are all about scaling. And they're like, you got to have 5 VAs and you can't be answering your own emails because you don't have time for that. It's all scale, scale, scale. I'm like, but you haven't even created an offer. Like, you don't even make any money at what you're scaling. Zero. Like like we have to be boots on the ground, getting in the trenches and interacting with real human beings. Like, I started in 2015 with my podcast and I had nothing. So I was hungry to talk to one person, and I still show up today like that. That's my superpower, is like, I'm hungry to talk to anybody like you are. Like, you're hunting them down from the Buzzsprout comment section and finding them, the sleuth. So like, I just want to emphasize that with my audience. Like, you guys,
Yeah.
you can't jump to scaling from starting. You have to be a human and build super fans one email or one DM at a freaking time. Like, that's,
Yeah.
what Tracy's doing there. That's gold right there, Tracy.
Well, thanks. And you know what? I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because this is a conversation that doesn't happen enough. I launch my 8-week group coaching program 3 times a year, and I do it with live master classes. And one of the things I say in the masterclass is a frustration I've had was coming into the online space. Building this business wasn't as easy as everybody made it sound or look. And when I first started, I wanted to be the next big name with the 20-person team making a gazillion dollars. And over time, I don't know, maybe it's my age, maybe it's just, I don't know where I am in business right now, but I'd rather have a little bit of a business that's not super scalable because I still want to be in it. I don't want to not know the names of my students. I've been in those programs where there's thousands of people and they promise that you'll get your questions answered and you don't. There's no way you can. And so when I open the doors to my program and people are like, well, how many people do you normally have in the program? I'm like, 25 to 35. And when I tell them that I answer every question personally, that I don't have community coaches, that they're not going to hear from my team, that it's me in the trenches reviewing their homework, sending them a Loom video about what they need to do different, having a conversation with them on the live Q&A calls, not cherry picking their questions, I really think they're astounded. And I think they don't believe me. Do you find that to be true
Same,
also?
same.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you're really going to help me? Yeah, I really am. I really am. And if you lived anywhere near me, we would go to a coffee shop and work together. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. So yeah, I like what you said about the unscalable. That really helps me put a frame on it,
Yeah.
the unscalable business, because I think that's what I keep coming back to is I don't want to not know who people are that are buying from me.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are getting into online business going, okay, I need a hands-off scalable lead magnet so you know, I can talk about this once on my show and people download this PDF and I don't have to
Yeah.
interact with that person. They get on my list. Then I send them a 40 email funnel and then they buy this
Right.
online course that where I'm also not
Yeah.
involved for 9.97.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they go, well, nobody's even doing the PDF. And it's just like, how can we add a little human to each one? So
Hmm.
instead of the PDF, maybe it's a live training, a little
Yeah,
90-minute workshop. And
for
then
sure.
we add 3 30-minute coaching sessions to that online course. And guess what? You start making sales because people want to work with people.
Yes, they do. They do. The businesses in 2026 that will succeed are the ones that offer the piece of humanity with the thing they're buying. And so that's why for my group coaching program, we have a live Q&A call every week, and it's me, and I stay on as long as I need to answer all the questions. And, that's the only way I know how to do it because I had been in programs where that didn't happen and it didn't feel good. And I was like, oh, I can't sleep at night if this is going to be happening. But yeah, it frustrates me, Adam, when people think that exactly what you just said. They can come into the online space, they can create this course. I'm just going to put it on Evergreen. Hold the phone. You've got to live launch it. You've got to have people go through it. You've got to talk to those people. You've got to get the testimonials. You've got to actually do some work. Then maybe you could put it on Evergreen and have it print money for you. But I just don't see that. An Evergreen funnel is so sexy because you could go to the beach on your private jet with your laptop and not have to do anything. But I don't understand how that's going to work in 2026 and beyond. I don't. You'd have to run paid ads to it, which for me, I'm not a paid ads fan. For me, I have some students that do really well with paid ads and they get really inexpensive leads that actually convert, and it's amazing. Me, that didn't happen. I spent thousands of dollars 2 different times to run paid ads, didn't convert, and I'm like not doing it. So that's why I do all organic stuff. But that evergreen thing, it's still like I don't know. I feel like they're almost wanting to build a McDonald's franchise.
Yeah.
It's like, and I had this conversation with my students a couple weeks ago. We're not building a McDonald's franchise because they're frustrated. They're like, when is this going to work? How many times do I have to launch it? How many times do I have to tweak it and change the messaging and throw it back out there? I'm like, as many times as it takes for it to start converting. Because building an online business is hard and it takes work and it takes experiment. This whole thing is an experiment. And nobody knows nobody has a crystal ball. And so I told him, I said, we're not building a McDonald's franchise. I know that would feel a lot easier because you go to Hamburger University and they give you a notebook and they give you the blueprint and they give you the uniforms and they give you the menu and they give you everything. And then you're done and you can stand back and look at it and go, isn't she gorgeous? And she prints money for you. And then you go on and you build another one. That's not what we're doing.
Nope. Not even close.
Right. But I think that's what the online marketers that want you to buy their programs want you to believe.
Yeah.
Oh, just build a membership. People will buy it.
10K months.
Hold on. Yeah, 10K months. And then speaking of 10K months, okay, now this gets my goat. Now
Did I push the button? Did I push the 10K month button?
Yeah, I'm on the soapbox now, Adam. 10K months irritates me because I was in a program with a big name, thousands of people, and had made some really great connections with some girls in like an accountability pod or something, which really wasn't. We are all self-starters. We didn't need to be held accountable. But anyway, we were kind of brainstorming off each other. And this one gal had her first launch. She made $7,000. And she said, I know that we're supposed to make $10,000 in our first launch. And I think I'm going to shut this down. And I was like, what? Did you just hear what you just said? $7,000 and you're going to shut it down? She actually paused the business and she went and went into therapy because she was so depressed. And the marketing messaging had done such a number on her mindset. I don't care if somebody has a $2,000 launch, $500 launch. I have students that say to me, well, I don't have my list is really small. I'm like, how many people are on it? They're like 250. I'm like, that's a lot of people. Picture 250 people in your living room. That's suddenly a whole lot of people.
Yep.
Right? And so this 10K month thing, this 6-figure year thing, it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you need for your family, what is your enough number? Because the person sitting next to you may have left their corporate job where they were making, I don't know, $50,000 a year. And that's all their family needed to live a great life that they loved. And they don't want to stress themselves out trying to make millions of dollars when that's not what they really want. It's like me when I first started out, I wanted to make $1 gazillion. And then a couple of years in, I was like, why do I even want that? I don't want to have a 20-person team and have to hire a CEO and all the things that go with that and not really be able to get in the trenches with my people, the people that are paying me. So yeah, the 10K month thing, that's an irritant.
Yeah. Okay. So
sorry.
No, I love where we're going with this. I'm going to just kind of summarize where we're at in the conversation here. I'm hearing a lot of people in the online coaching space, especially going, it's really hard right now. It's gotten a lot harder to get clients. And I feel like things that are factoring into this, the trust recession, all the online expert people preaching 10K months and how easy it is and why aren't you doing this? What's wrong with you? Right. And then AI. I feel like the AI factor has shifted things where people are going to AI like that. I feel like that's why the non-human type of an offer, like the evergreen course, I feel like AI really has impacted that type of a sale because people go, I can just ask ChatGPT for all this stuff. But
you're exactly right.
So are you feeling a similar, like the role of AI
Absolutely.
into making this all harder? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. It's the trust reset. It's the bad actors from several years when it was a wild, wild west, selling a lot of things, delivering a lot of promises, and breaking my heart because I'd talk to people who want to join my program and they'll go, Tracy, do you know how much money I've spent? Some of these people, one lady, Adam, you're not going to believe this. One lady had spent $100,000 already and not made a dime. And I was like, oh, bless your heart. I can't that made me really sad. I was like, Oh my stars. I wanted her to come to my house so that I could help her build her business. I couldn't believe it. But yes, so the bad actors layered with the AI. Because, okay, so was it last fall? I think there was a big name. If I said her name, you'd know it. That announced she was not going to do her launch that she does once a year, where she teaches people how to create a course. And
Amy Porterfield.
automatically, there you go. Automatically, and I'm sure you saw this, the ripple effect of that. People were like, "Oh my God, courses are dead."
Yeah.
They're all, "Oh, courses are dead. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" Look, courses are not dead. What is dead is what you and I are talking about. The lack of humanity, the lack of the person being connected to their people. That's what's dead. And because of AI, you can go to AI and learn anything. But what you can't learn is what's in Tracy Beaver's brain. What is in my buddy Adam's brain? That's what AI can't give you, is that perspective and the nitty gritty detail of all of that. There's certain things AI is great for, but if you're allowing AI to totally run your business and create your content, you're not going to be successful. You're just not. And if you're not willing to plug in with your students and clients, I'm sorry, I don't see that succeeding at all. So I did not it didn't cause me any stress when people were saying, "Oh, courses are dead." People were like, "How do you feel about that? You've got a course." I'm like, I have a group coaching accelerator. I have something very different. Yes, there's a course with it, Business Visibility Made Easy. It has 4 modules, absolutely, but it also has Tracy Beavers right there with you for the whole freaking thing. Even on the weekends, I'm answering my students in our Facebook group community. So, you know, there are certain things that people are, it's like lead magnets. Going back to our lead magnet conversation, AI, you don't have to download my PDF. You can go to AI and ask that question. But what AI can't do is give you a bundle of my podcasts that let you dive deeper into the topic, let you hear what I think about a strategy or the idea that I had or what worked for me or what worked for one of my students. AI is not going to give you that. And it also concerns me from a standpoint for bloggers. Tell me if you have found this. Some people are saying that because of AI, blogs are having a hard time getting found. But then other people are saying if you have it SEO optimized and AEO optimized, then AI should be quoting your blog. So, there's some questions in the last few months from my friends who prefer to do a blog over a podcast or a YouTube channel or something like that as their regular piece of weekly content. And they're like, is AI making my blog irrelevant? And I'm not sure. But that's another thing that may be affected.
Yeah. I mean, I think I feel like text content is the most susceptible to AI duplication and takeover because it's there word for word.
Right.
Where audio content still, I mean, that has to be converted. And if you're not putting that in a text based format, then, but no, like it's like people are freaking out about this. I went to the Content Entrepreneur Expo. I spoke there last November, and Joe Palizzi gave a whole speech on AI and talking
Yeah.
about like a lot of people were talking about AI and just fearing
Mhm.
it, like taking over as content creators are in trouble because of this. But
Yeah.
like you said, I feel like what's in your brain, what's in my brain gives our clients a competitive advantage because so many people are using the repetitive AI and they all look the same where me
Yeah.
and my students and you and your students are able to take some nuanced angles and pivot a little bit and do something a little bit more human, a little bit more unique and different, maybe even
Mhm.
weird that works because guess what?
Yeah.
AI can't be weird. It can't
No.
be uniquely human. So,
Right. Right.
so
It
I think,
also
yeah,
it also is not going to hold you accountable. ChatGPT is not going to come knock on my door every morning and go, "Hey, you working? How's that going? Do you need help?" No, it's not. And so what you and I give our clients and students is not only fresh ideas and perspective, but somebody they can talk to that is going to help them move the business forward, move the podcast forward. AI will give you great ideas and maybe some content, but it's not going to be there to hold your hand when you're feeling like crap. My one-to-one clients have Voxer access to me anytime, and I want them to Voxer me especially if they're having a bad day or something hasn't gone well, because we can in real time brainstorm a new idea, a fresh approach, or just I can just pick them back up when they've, when things haven't gone. And AI is not going to do that for you.
I'm going to say something, Tracy, and I'm going to anger some of my audience members.
Okay.
I might even lose a subscriber or two here, but I've noticed something. I've noticed this with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed with some of my clients, but I kind of talk them, I can help them at least. My friends may or may not listen to me. But I've got a lot of friends in the content creator space. I've been doing this for a long time. And since AI has come about, I feel like the ones that are overusing it, they're losing creative muscle. They're having creative muscle atrophy, where
Mm-hmm.
I kind of view them as like that baby bird with their mouth open, go, AI, feed me, versus being able to go out and hunt and get their own meal. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
see that happening. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like creativity is a muscle. And you don't know this, but my audience knows this. I I don't use AI for anything. Like I've never used ChatGPT. I don't have Claude. I tried to invite Claude on my podcast. He won't answer my emails. That's my
So
joke.
he's
That's my
so
AI
rude.
joke.
He's
But
so
like,
rude.
and I do that on purpose because I'm not the smartest guy for sure, but I really am very confident in my creative ability. I know I'm a creative human, and that is my
Yeah.
superpower. And I do not want to diminish. I don't want that muscle to weaken at all. I want to have to work as hard as possible. That's the
Mm-hmm.
one freaking advantage I've got in this business. So, I mean, any
Yeah.
thoughts on that? I mean, have you noticed that like that creative atrophy, a little bit of people just like getting, I see them getting stuck more often. They're like just burnout is happening more easily because they feel like they have to be fed by the AI machine versus going out and freaking doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's with any muscle, if you don't use it, it will atrophy. I was listening to an interview today about brain health. And one of the things they did say was with the birth of AI, we run the risk of our brains not being as healthy as they should be because we're relying on somebody else to feed us, give us the stuff rather than thinking on our own. And it was even little things like it when you are logging into something and they send you a verification code. Don't just copy and paste the verification code. Look at it, memorize it, type it in. Don't allow the technology to do the work for you because that also dumbs down your brain.
Yeah.
We need to give our brains opportunities to, and also, oh, there was a professor I saw interviewed. Don't laugh at me, but I love the Today Show, and I have NBC on all day. I'm sorry. I may have lost some credibility there with your audience. I'm sorry. But there was this professor being interviewed uh, who says to his students, part of your grade, you will spend 1 hour a week being bored, or maybe it was an hour a day. They could not, go for a walk without your phone, sit on your couch and just dream.
Yeah.
Go
No
out and
screens. That's what I tell my
right.
kids. No
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah. Take a drive in your car in silence. And he said he got some pushback at first, as you can probably imagine. And over time, the kids were like, I have more clarity. I have more confidence because I'm thinking for myself and I'm not just letting the world come at me. And it's yeah, so it goes back to not it's really deeper than just losing the creative muscle, I think. It's losing ourselves and our ability to think for ourselves and come to our own conclusions and make our own decisions. And then that will atrophy your confidence because if you can't make a decision without asking AI, that's something fundamentally wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it's
Yes.
sort of this downhill slide. It might start with losing your creative brain, your creative muscle. But then, I mean, gosh, we got to keep our memory strong. We've got to, you know, use our spidey senses. But your spidey senses get dumbed down when you have somebody telling you what to do all the time.
Yep. I agree. One of my favorite books, I was just looking at, it's called Daily Rituals by
Mhm.
Mason Curry. And it talks about all these ultra creative people from the history of the world, like
Yeah.
Van Gogh, Michelangelo, different like painters, builders, sculptors, philosophers. And they all have these weird rituals, and some of them are really weird. But a through line is a lot of them just took really long walks. And
Yeah.
my first thing was, you know what? They aren't looking at their phone. They aren't listening to a podcast. Like Van Gogh wasn't rocking podcasting business school in his earbuds while he's out walking around for an hour.
Right. Right.
So what you just said, that kind of adds some validity to that. That's just like let your brain think and
Mhm.
work and watch what
Yeah.
happens. Bring that back a
Yeah.
little bit. Um, okay, so I wanna finish with a bang here. I want to know Tracy Beavers has you're on a mission to double your email list size.
Hmm.
What's your checklist going to be as far as like getting the word out about getting on your list? Like, where are you promoting your lead magnet, your newsletter, whatever?
Yeah.
How are we going to go about doubling? If you had to double from today, like, what's the mission going to look like?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Okay, so my platform of choice is Facebook. And I know your audience probably just went, what? No, Facebook is amazing for so many reasons. Facebook groups primarily. I've got an amazing one, 4,000 online entrepreneurs in there. It's actually a community of support where people are talking to each other and being human. So it's really great. But so Facebook. So I would make sure that I have my whatever top of funnel strategy I have, whatever lead magnet I want to do, whether it's promoting my free group because of the way that I teach. When you set up, if you have a free group, when you set up the membership entry questions, there's a way to write those where people will want to give you their email address. So the free Facebook group becomes a top of funnel list building strategy. So I want to make sure that I'm promoting that. I want to make sure I'm promoting my podcast because, as you and I've talked about, a podcast is a great top of funnel strategy. It is a lead magnet. A lot of people think it's not. It is. Just because it's not a checklist or a cheat sheet doesn't mean it's not a top of funnel lead magnet strategy. And we have to make sure, though, that when we're doing our podcast audio, we are giving a call to action verbally to our audience so that they will want to join our list. For you, it's probably your newsletter,
Yep.
reminding them to come grab the newsletter. And then in the show notes, we have to make sure there's a link there for people to grab whatever it is you've mentioned. So that would be a strategy. I would make sure to promote my podcast on social media. And then I would just make sure that those inside the free group, there's opportunities to join my list. In the podcast, there's opportunities to join my list. Then I would be thinking about borrowing other people's audiences and doing list swaps or being on summits. Like that's, I think, where you and I met was an audio summit that we
Yeah,
both
Liz
did.
Wilcox. Yep.
Yeah. And so what I'm doing now is I'm borrowing your audience. And then when you come on my podcast, you're going to be borrowing my audience. And between the two of us, because we share a very similar audience members, we're both going to grow. And so there's lots of different ways to grow your list. And that's what I help my students navigate because what I enjoy is not necessarily what they're going to enjoy doing. And so that's the Tracy Beavers method would be making sure I am actually promoting my stuff enough that people have an opportunity to see it, and then finding rooms to be in where I can add value and I can share what I'm doing so that I can grow my audience that way too.
I love it, Tracy. And I think the through line for me for this conversation is look for the unscalable, human included action steps that I think a lot of people are skipping
Yeah.
because a lot of people are like, what about the hands off lead magnet on repeat and I can just run
Yeah.
ads to it or what like that. But what you just said was I need to collaborate. I need to interact with other people. I got to get boots on the ground. Need to talk to other humans. I
Yeah.
need to be able to cross promote. I need to show up at summits. I need to maybe go to live events and live workshops, meet humans and put in the
Yeah.
freaking work. Like
Yes.
this, my podcast is an 11-year overnight success story. It took me 3 years to make $37, but I was full time by the end of year 5. So
I
like
love
it
it.
takes a long freaking time.
It does.
The goal of people like you and myself is for audiences to move through a little faster than we did, like
Yeah.
learn from our mistakes. But yeah, I mean, my real takeaway from this is being human and inserting our humanness to our offers, our lead magnets, and just build relationships. Like put
Yes.
in the freaking work. If you really want to do this, put in the work, be a
Yes.
human and collaborate with other humans. And that's
Yeah.
actually the fast track. Doing the unscalable things is actually the
Mhm.
fast track. Thoughts?
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. And what I was just thinking about was, we're talking about online business and people think it's easy. It takes work. But also, if you went to open a brick and mortar of any kind, a boutique, a shoe store, a water restoration business, whatever, you can't just open it's not a McDonald's franchise. You can't just open it and sit there in the boutique or in the shoe store or in the wherever and expect people to just come to you. You still, even with that business model, have to go out and make connections and network and find the people and tell them about what you're doing. And so, yeah, we have to put in the work. And I think that might make me super unpopular because that's what I think. But you've got plenty of people out there that will say, "Oh no, you can do this. It doesn't take, come by my program and I'll teach you how to print money." And I'm over here going, not going to work. So yes, I agree with you, Adam.
Yeah, my program is only 10K and you're going to charge 10K. So you just need one client and it's already paid for itself, Tracy.
Right. It's
But
so easy.
if I close my laptop, the price doubles. So act now. I fall victim to that stuff. Yeah, I bought an offer like that last year. I got hard sold by somebody, and I was like,
Did you really? Oh man.
got
Did
me.
it end up being a good program?
No, heck
Oh,
no. I spent $12,600, and it was funny. I bought two programs last year. One cost $12,600, and one cost $750. And I was like, I got $12,600 of value from the $750 program. So I guess it evened out. But I wish I hadn't spent that other one.
man.
But
Yeah.
anyway, but no, I've loved this conversation. I'm so glad that we're connected. I would love for you to share a resource or how, if people want to dive into your world, where do they get started? I'm going to list all your links, your free Facebook group, your website, all your stuff in the show notes. But where would
Thanks.
you like people to start, Tracy?
I think since they are listening to a podcast and they obviously love great shows, I think mine's pretty cool. It's called Create Online Business Success. And it's me and my goofy Southern accent and sense of humor. My son is my podcast manager, which just lights me up. He's gotten so good at it. But anyway, that's it. Fun fact behind the scenes, he's the podcast manager. So that's a great place to start. And then also, if they are Facebook curious, come join my free Facebook group. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. You can find it through that name, or you can just come find me on Facebook. I'm Tracy Lane Beavers, and you'll see the link for it there. It truly is a community of support, and the reason why I want people to get into a community of support is exactly the reason that you and I were just talking about. Building this online business is freaking hard. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. And if you are trying to do this by yourself, it's lonely. And your mind's gonna start playing tricks on you, and you're gonna start saying things to yourself you wouldn't say to anybody else. And that's not what we want. So come get into a community of support where you can actually be around other people that are doing the same thing you're doing and answer your questions and, connect with you. Make those human connections.
All right, folks, I will have it in the show notes, all the connection opportunities. Tracy, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks so much.
All right, Pod Pals, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. I will see you on the next episode. Hey there, good looking. Just a quick reminder to hit that link in the show notes and get signed up for my free Podcasting Business School newsletter. I'm going to send you a fresh, hot newsletter every single Thursday with some of my best podcast launch, growth, and monetization strategies. Hit that link in the show notes and keep your eyes on your inbox.